no, I'm lagging. Hang on. Gonna try turning it off and on again. Is it gonna lag the whole time? You know what, I'll just make my face really small and then you won't even see that I'm slightly out of sync. Oh, it's gonna be so annoying, isn't it? Can we make that go different? Such a drag. Just going to have a slight air of lagginess about me, which will be fine. Very appropriate for a windy day up here in Scotland. Right, let's get on with our show. For it is Thursday in the UK and it's the live stream. And we are going to be covering our favourite topics. Task of the week, reporting spotlight, delve into the post bag, see what's from our own correspondence, and what's new and power move. So the first thing on the list this week is a quickie about how to watch the live stream. And I wanted to just mention that one possible way of interacting with the live stream that we run every week is to watch it on 2x speed. And the reason for that is that some of the topics will be super important and useful to you that week in the moment. Other topics will be useful for some time in the future, it'll be fine. And other topics still will be relevant, not to you, but to your colleagues. And it's nice to get a sense of everything that I'm talking about, but also it's nice to not have to sit there in real time. So I think it's entirely appropriate that you tune into these live streams maybe an hour after I've done them and rattle through them. And then you can think like, well, you've saved yourself a bit of time. The other thing I thought I'd say is that I pop in bookmarks. Are they called bookmarks? I'm not sure. Some like markers, time markers on YouTube. And I label them with the topics that they are, and they all correspond to our topics of the week. So you can have a look at that, jump to the relevant part of the video, and just watch that bit. So I thought I'd share that because I do want to make these live streams as accessible for everyone as possible. I've watched one of them with subtitles on as well, in case that's an appealing way to go through these. I'm afraid I say a lot, which I'm going to try very hard, New Year's resolution maybe, to stop saying but the subtitles can be quite helpful as well. But let me know how the timings of them go. Is it too long, too short, too waffly, too whatever? Any topics that you'd like me to cover? Always very happy to do that. So keep me posted as to what can make these relevant for your, continuing professional education. If you'd also like me to send weekly reminders through Consonance to the notifications to say, hello, live stream's coming up, don't forget, then we can do that as well. But I don't like to badger. You know where we are. So that was a quick task of the week, but we're going to dive on now into the reporting spotlight. Very often in the reporting spotlight, we do something very advanced and complex and niche, and sometimes it can be, just like that, playing on hard mode, that we're trying to do something that's really complex and impressive. So this week I thought we would take a bit of a step back, and I thought we would just have a look at some casual reports. Let's just go to reporting together and let's just see what we can see and see what we find, and keep it to that sort of top line of the sorts of reports that might be more on the straightforward side than the difficult side. So let's dive in. I've pulled up my main menu here, great, and I'm going to reporting. I could have used the keyboard, I could have had that in my little list, I could have filtered for it, but here I am. and I'm going to create a new report. So there's nothing going on here. And by default, as we know, there is one search condition available for me to put information in. And one of the classics, if I type product pub, is to look for records based on the product's publication date. And it never gets old because that's a relevant piece of information for everybody in the entire company. So when we put in publication date, we get this middle field change, and the options depend on what sort of search condition you're starting to run. But with a date, makes a lot of sense to say, well, do we want to look for a date that's on or after? Do we want to look on or before this date? Do we want to look exactly on? Do we want to see whether a pub date is present or not? And probably more useful, let's have a look at the products where the publication date is not present. And if I hit search for that, I'm going to get my basic display come back to me. Now the display says that there are 8 works, 23 products, 3 contacts and 1 series and some other things that are associated with products that don't have a pub date. And this is very, very top line and can be looked at a glance and then moved on from, because this isn't going to, you can't send this to Waterstones and you can't send this out to any of your trading partners. The number 23 products is a vanishingly small amount of information, but it gives you that sense. It's like a pause to say, yes, that sounds about right. 23 products does sound about right. So the next immediate step is to click choose a display or action. And it brings up our panel here. And if you've favorited any of these displays, then they will appear top left. You might want to do some refining of the results. You might want to see some more overviews. We're on the results overview at the moment. Or you might want to go straight to downloading this information. Or you might want to reason with it a little bit more, sort of follow your nose. So I'm going to click on lists here and I'm going to see how we can express the results of this report in a number of different ways. And the absolute classic, if we've searched for products that don't have a publication date, it's going to be pretty good to see a list of those products. So I'm going to click on products there. I could have typed in products, by the way, to just filter down, give me a bit more clarity about the options available. But I don't have to do that. I can just sort of see the kitchen sink if I want to. I'm going to click on products. And there we see the 23 products that do not have a pub date. It's true. Now at this point we can do something about it. We can use one of our batch editing tools, or we can think, well, that's okay because actually they're a 2029 book and we're not going to get there for ages. Or we can notice other things, or we can think, well, not only do they not have a pub date, but yes, they're actually cancelled, so they're never going to get a pub date. This is fine. But you can start to understand your own data and you can start to reason with it, and you can think, well, okay, I've seen the products where the pub date is not present. What about just the audiobooks? And so that sort of inquiry in your mind, that's the sort of thing that prompts you adding a new condition. So this is my friend here, this button, add condition. When I click that, I get more fields. And I'm now layering on another set of filters, I guess is a word. You're adding a further filter to your report. So the not present pub date, that's going to remain there. But now let's have a look at product form. So I've typed in form, I could have typed in product form, I could have typed in format, and that would have come back with the same sort of thing. So because this is it's not a date, it's got a different set of options here. And we can do it either positively or negatively. We can say, let's include any of the things that I'm about to pick, or actually let's include none of the things I'm about to pick. So what if we want to just omit audio? seems all right, if we're just focused on print products for the moment. So I hit search, and then I'm seeing, okay, so there are 4 products where there is no pub date, and they are AJ, downloadable audio files. We're sitting, and the most recent display that we chose, that's the display that we're seeing down in this part of the screen. If I was to go back to my big menu picker thing here and check and click on results overview, I'm back to the starting point. So this results overview, this is your starting point for a new report. But thereafter, I'm following my nose. I'm finding the sort of display that I'm most interested in. We could switch this around, couldn't we? We could say, show me all of the products without a publication date, but don't trouble me about audiobook. I'm not thinking about audiobook today. Press search, audiobook's gone. So absolutely building up a search like this by adding in a condition, looking at the results, and having that prompt the next thought is a very valid way to go about using the reporting, I think. And as soon as you alight on something useful that you think, right, I want to be able to run this every month, or I want to be able to send this to somebody, or I want to download this tomorrow, but I have to leave work now. Save your report. So if I click save your report, then I can say products without pub date, not audio download. Talking and typing, honestly. If I save that, then I'm going to be able to see that report next time I come back to the page there. So I just wanted to do that really. I wanted to have a little scamper around just like a normal report, a normal, I want to hop in, get something that is going to get me to achieve my goal in the moment and hop out again. And the more of these you build up, and the better you name them, the better you're going to be able to build up your own version of Consonance, isn't it? It's your own way to see your data in the way that you want to see it. The next step for that is, if we go back to our report there, to not to use one of these sort of pre-made lists that we've given you, but to have a product custom report. So if I look at product custom report, what have I got available? These are custom reports that I, the user, has put together. So if I look at Waterstone's grid, then, this isn't actually what Waterstones need, don't worry. But I'm going to see the results of this search, this report, in a spreadsheet format with exactly the column headings that I want to see. And we create those, if I just take you over there, rather than just offering you the exciting opportunity and then not telling you where to go, you articulate these in custom reports. So to get to custom reports, I could go here to the main menu and I could type in custom. That will whittle down my list and make it more clear where custom reports are. I can star that if I want it for later. And then going to custom report, I'll see the ones I've made previously, and I'll be able to add a custom report as well and say my main list, make it private if I want, and then choose the columns that you want to see. When it's it's brand new, fresh, it's got no columns, let's add one. Go to that, and we might want ISBN 13, great. And then we might want title, great. And then we might want price. And then we see all of the different ways that price could be interpreted, and you choose the one that you want. I'll have that one. And then if we save that, we've got a custom report that's got 3 products in it. And now I'm going to be able to use that on my reporting. So let's use my brand new report. And I want actually just to view it because I can download it as well. There is my main list. I view my custom report, and there's my product title, ISBN, and price that I've just made. So, you can bounce around the different parts of Consonance. It's a fairly lightweight process to think, yes, all right, 23 products, 19 products, but I need to see it in da-da-da. Well, it's quite get-atable to do that. So yes, so lovely. A little scamper around some straightforward reports. I thought we would appreciate that. Lovely. Well done, Reporting Spotlight. What's next? Oh yes. So this is a ticket we got, a support ticket, with a question, an outstandingly good question. It was buried in amongst a whole bunch of other questions. I can't remember what the actual task was, but our treasured client was asking what format do they upload the cover image in, and what naming convention do they need to use, because it wasn't Core Source, but it was somebody like Core Source that said we have to receive products, images in with a particular naming convention, has to be the ISBN underscore and then some 7-digit code or something. So they were the client was wondering, do they have to rename all of their files, upload them again to Consonance so that a third party can receive them in the format that they want. So I just wanted to make sure that you knew that the answer to that was absolutely not. Consonance can do that for you, and it can do it in a number of sort of timescales. So the first way is if you've got a recipient and they're taking an Onyx feed from you, and you want them to always get images with this new format that they've decided to put upon you, then you can let us know. You can raise a support ticket, and we will change your Onyx feed configuration to change the names of the files on the way out. So within Consonance, you'll never see that particular naming convention, but because you've talked to us about what this other party need, when they get the Onyx files plus the image files, they will get them named in that particular way. So that is useful. But whilst I was thinking about this excellent question, because how can you know if you don't ask, if we haven't told you, whilst I was thinking about how do files get into Consonance and then get out again, I wanted to share with you this page, which I'm not sure we've been to that often, which is batches. So this is a batch. A batch is a collection of products. And you'd think, well, why have you just, taken me all around reporting? Don't we go to reporting, put in the sort of search conditions to say which products we want to look at, and then look at them there? Why have we got these batches? Well, batches are for when you have been defeated by data, when some products exist together just because they exist together. And it's not because they're in the same pub date range. It's not because they're in the same series or category. It's not because of any kind of metadata that links them. They're just together because they're together for human reasons. And it could be that they're your favourite ones that you're taking to a trade fair, and you want to have them in a batch so that you've got a pick list or a catalogue for it. They might be a Waterstones promotion, and the theme of the promotion is something that doesn't exist in metadata, like books that are predominantly with a pink cover. That isn't lots of things are in metadata, so it's hard to think of examples. But sometimes products belong together because they belong together, and stop asking questions, please, Consonance. So that's what batches are really useful for. And so we've got this batch here, and it's called cats. And for whatever reason, there are 3 products in this batch. And it's cats in space, cats throughout history, cats of the world. I can do various things with this. I mean, I can do things like send this batch reference to the support team here at Consonance to say, I've put together a batch of products that I've got a question about for some reason. Have a look. You can use this batch to generate marketing materials from the marketing materials template pages, which is great. But the bit I want to show you today, which we have touched on briefly, but it just came up again, so why not, is this zip contents. And if we go to zip contents, we see a lot of buttons. And you think, well, there's only 3 products in this batch. Why all the buttons? So let's have a look. On this first row are 4 buttons, and clicking on them will download me a zip file, and the zip file will contain it's three records. The 3 cover images for the 3 products in this batch, and the cover images will be in the JPEG RGB colour space, and they will be 50 pixels wide. And if you click this top one here, the images will be named with the work ID. So that's our, almost like the Consonance work ID. It's just a number. It's meaningful to us, but it's not very descriptive. It's not human. The next one along, you'll get the same images. They'll be in JPEG format, RGB colour space, 50 pixels wide, and they will have a verbose name, and it'll be something like the work title, and then perhaps the date of creation. Same images, but named with the work ISBN. So that's like how some systems want you to have a lead product, or like a work, what do they call them? Work group or title group or that sort of thing. So if you need to have said what the work ISBN is, and you want that to be the name of the image, then that's what you'll get. And if you click this one, you'll get the same images but named 978 blah, 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 .jpeg, and that will be the product ISBN. And then on the next line down, you'll get the same naming conventions, but each of the images will be 75 pixels wide. And if you click the next one, each of the images will be 250 pixels wide. And if you click the next one, each of the images will be 150 pixels high, because that's what recipients want sometimes for reasons, and so on and so forth. And so that leads you to think, gosh, well, Consonance must be doing something to generate all of these different image files. And you'll be absolutely right. And that's why you don't need to re-upload cover images with a new naming convention. What Consonance, the system, does is get the original file, and for these purposes it's a really good idea if it's as big as you can make it, because we're going to be making all sorts of versions of this file. So go large, get your biggest, most highest resolution image in, and I think the phrase is like post-process it. After upload, Consonance processes that original file into all of these versions that we see here, and then they're available, for instance, on this page. They're available in Onyx. They have been converted without you having to manually intervene in that way. And within Consonance's interface, we use various of these images to keep things efficient. We don't put your original size enormous file onto the top of the work overview page so that your browser has to manage that enormous asset. We use the itty bitty one, or whichever one's appropriate for the task at hand, and then so can you. So this is a useful page, and I took you to batches because then you get a whole bunch of products all at the same time, but you get the same sort of downloadable files when you go to an individual image as well. So worth knowing that there's stuff that's going on behind the scenes that takes your original image and converts it into different versions. So if you're ever, if there's ever an eventuality down the line and you think, but I need a naming convention for this, or I need a particular colour space for this, or I need to truncate it or trim it, these are all possible things. So let us know. Now I have let you know. So yeah, so cracking question in the mailbag this week. Oh, are we on what's new already? Goodness me, time flies. What's new this week is a couple of things. Thanks to the treasured user, you know who you are, for pointing out that the filter on that custom report picker was really slow in Chrome. I'm not in Chrome today, I'm in Firefox, but let's have a look at the bits that I want to show you. I'm pleased to say that it's now fast in all browsers. So thank you for letting me know. It was when they were having a good look at the marketing material templates. And it's this bit I shall show you. It's when you click to add an element and you actually click that button. These cats, they're so funny. And it was this filter here. So if we type prices competently, then that's now going to filter really nicely and quickly. And that's a little bit of a code enhancement that's been done for all of the filters throughout the system. So well done Team Consonance who worked on that to smooth the path. And thank you for letting us know about that. That is all fixed up. And that's quite a little thing, because the other exciting thing that I want to show you is Write Stills. Let's go to Write Stills. It's going to be even better next week because we will have added in some search and reporting options. So I can't wait to show you that. But this is a page that has had a few enhancements. And again, I've been really lucky to be able to talk to some clients who are using this part of the system who could say, actually, can we have these following amendments? And so they have been knitted in certain extra fields here. But the one I wanted to show you straight away is a couple of ones actually. I'll show you two things straight away. The first one is that you can now create a licensed rights type on the fly. So previously it was required of you to go to the contracts page. How do we go to the contracts page? Right mouse, open link in new tab. Let's have a look. We required you to go to the contracts page, go to this area here and add in a new one and say, you know, home, and then say how much, actually that's a bad one, translation, and then say what percentage share the author gets. Press save, go back here, have another look at the thing, refresh the page, blah, 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 you know, round and round and round and round and round. And so what we have done now, even though I feel a little bit, I don't know, it's fine. It's very pragmatic because it's how we all work. And the reason I feel a bit about it is that the contract represents the actual contract that you have agreed between you and the author or agent. So what I'm about to show you can potentially alter that contract or alter your record of it, but it's all right. We've taken steps to alert you to that fact. So let's add in first serial. And now you see that there's an option here, create first serial. And now if I'll just save this. So we know that this is a rights deal and the sort of right that we are thinking of licensing, because, you know, this is just before we've even thought about it. We haven't made any inquiries yet. Now that is going to be available on the contract, but without an author share. And Consonance will now say, look, you've got an author share missing. So at this point, this is a problem because we can't allocate any receipts that you get in if this deal gets signed. We can't allocate any receipts onto the author or agent. So you'll be notified of that. But what you have been able to do is rapidly add your license right to a rights deal. So this rights deal's got nothing in it, no data yet. Well, but you've been able to say, well, I would like to sell translation rights for this particular work, and I can't do that until, you know, I've got my scope clear. So there we go. We've also added in correspondence contact, because whilst there are a lot of different contacts on a rights deal, it's important to know which which person or entity to actually correspond with there. So that's great. And then the other bit, changed a few things, but nothing ground shaking. But the bit I wanted to show you was stages. So we've added in stages to a rights deal. And the current stage of this rights deal is that we've sent an inquiry. And in the region below, you can see that we are keeping a track of the different stages that a rights deal has been through. And so it started off by receiving interest, and then we granted review, and then we thought, oh, you've taken too long, granted non-exclusive review now. And then we've sent an inquiry. So this is a way to, hopefully a lightweight way to say, well, this is where we're up to with this particular deal, but I definitely need to know where we've been. So, further down the line, we might accept the offer. Gosh, that was a quick one. So now you can see accepted offer has been added to the history list. Except when you get back from Frankfurt, you sit down at the computer for the first time in a week and you do all of your data entry, because no one's got time to sit with any sort of device and meticulously update your information. I mean, if you do, hats off to you. You're doing better than me. So that's why history is editable in this particular regard, because you might be adding in some history that you do want to store for reporting purposes, but you just might want to be able to say, well, I should have changed this last week when I was actually at the fair. That's okay. History has been smoothed over. So now that later on you can report on the cadence of particular deals, you can see who's lagging, who's super fast to respond, where the blockers are, and so forth. So hopefully that is quite good fun. Let's just open up this rights deal stage again just to see some of the options here. So we've got a bunch of options, and again, sort of taken advisement from some clients for this sort of starting point. If you come here and there's anything grossly missing, or you think, gosh, if only there was X, Y, and Z, then definitely let us know, because this is a well, everything in the system really is evolving, isn't it? If you have good ideas, then we're all ears. But I wanted to show you that this is what this page looks like now, very similar to all of the other pages in the system. And if you want to get started, come to a work, click on Add Rights Deal, Add New, Add Rights Deal, and have a poke around. You can delete them again if you're just poking around and you just want to see what all of the fields look like. But yeah, so this time next week, I mean, we very rarely discuss what we're going to talk about next week, do we? Because I only decide at the end of a Wednesday. But this time next week, we will have a look at the reporting options for that. Lovely stuff. Great. Let's do a quick power move. I've been sort of putting this one off a little bit because there's a tiny bit of work that's upcoming that's going to improve this feature just a little bit, but you might not know about it, and that would be a crying shame. So I would much rather you knew about it than not and wait for us. So I'm going to show you a to-do. I'm going to go to project management, I'm going to go to to-dos, and we're going to look at a to-do. What is a to-do? It is, I mean, think of it as we're in post-it note land here. It's just being saved to a database so that your colleagues can find it, you can find it, and you don't need to not put the post-it note through the wash. What needs to get done? I mean, what sort of things do we write down on to-dos? We write down send to print, one of the most popular types of to-do in a publishing management system, I would wager. And who is responsible? Probably the production controller, or the production director, or the production manager, or whichever role you, the person in your organisation has who is responsible for getting this to print. I mean, there's no secret source to this. Who is responsible? It's not a trick question. This is the person who is responsible in real life. It's such a mantra, isn't it? Whatever is the truth in real life, let's have that in consonance. And then we need to not hold in like a ledger in our head that says, oh, well, I put this in consonance, but what I really meant was. Workarounds beget workarounds, and it's not the solution to a happy life. So we can say a role is responsible, or we can say a person is responsible. And when the role gets fulfilled on this particular work, that will tick over to be that person. So that's quite nice. If you're setting this stuff up in the abstract, you can say, well, I don't know which production controller is going to be in charge of this, but I know one of them is. I'll set it up now, and then further down the line, they can have their name on it. But this is the bit that I was going to just share today, and this is now saying, how are we going to know when this task needs to be done? And it could be that there is no looming deadline. It could be that this is more like the sort of checklist that you take to the grocery store. You need to buy tomatoes, cucumbers and rice, but there's no due date on them. It's just like, I have got the tomatoes, I have got the rice. And so that's a completely valid way of using the to-dos here. You can have it as a list of things that need to be done in no particular order. They just need to be done at some point. So that's fine. Or there may be more of a looming deadline. And in that case, you've got two options. You can say that there's a fixed due date or a relative due date. Fixed due dates are particularly relevant when the date on which this to-do needs to be done is completely out of your control. And no matter how much you wish you could change it, it is what it is. I mean, cook Christmas lunch. That needs to be on the 25th of December this year. And that is just the date that it has to be. And I suppose you could cook it the day before and microwave it. Don't do that with Christmas lunch. So certain dates lend themselves very well to being, certain to-dos lend themselves very well to being due on a fixed due date. But a lot of the time, it can be really helpful to set up your to-dos so that they're relative to other things in the system. And now we start to get to the nub of the whole point of going to all of the effort of having a system in the first place, because it allows you to keep dates alive. So here we are, we're looking at all of the sorts of dates that exist in other parts of the system that we can use as sort of anchors to when this to-do is due. So we've got some classics, we've got the earliest pub date, lovely. And we might want to say, well, when do we want to send a book to print? I mean, if I was going to have a lovely Zen-like life, maybe 4 months before publication, depending on where the printer is located. If it's domestic, then it's giving myself plenty of time. And you can see that Constance has immediately said, okay, well, that based on that is Tuesday the 18th of November. And so there's your clue. If the pub date changes, then this due date on this to-do is going to change. And that means that you don't have to go back into Excel and figure out 400 new dates based on some other part of the process changing. And that's really it. That is the nub of what I wanted to explain, that you've got these dates that you might think are irrelevant to you, but you can use them. Because if there's one truth in publishing, it's that someone's going to change the pub date. There are probably other truths available. But pub dates do change, don't they? And I tell you what else changes is the date upon which you receive in the manuscript. This is such a path to happiness, isn't it? If we can get manuscripts delivered on time, everything else just flows. And so it's a great idea to set up to-dos on every project that say, all right, suitable amount of time before we are expecting to get the manuscript in as per the contract. Let's say 18 months. Let's put in a to-do, and let's say email author to see how progress is coming on. And then do another one, depending on how that email goes, do another one a bit closer and a bit closer and a bit closer and a bit closer and a bit closer. And then you've got this sort of reminder of a useful heartbeat action that you can take to try to keep things on track right from the start. I really like this one because, you agree something in a contract, and it might be a commissioning editor rather than the managing editor agrees it quite rightly. But then that data, that obligation that's been put upon the other party may just get printed out and put in a drawer and it's more difficult to act on it. But here, if you put the contents due date in the contract area and then you use that date in your workflow project management part of the system, you're keeping that data alive. And it's one version of the truth. You set it in the contract, you're using it in the project management system. The date, if that changes, is going to update your to-do anyway. So, yeah, I find it very useful. I'm going to save that. And then you see, oh my goodness, yes, everything's overdue. I'm late. I must hurry up. But it gives you that insight. At least then you can focus on sorting out the problem rather than focusing on generating a report to tell you what the problem is. And all of this stuff is available in reporting as well. So if you want to see title with all of your to-dos going across as well, then that is also a possibly more useful way to see some of these important to-dos that you need to do that will change. Awesome. Right. Yeah, we rattled through. Sorry about the laggy sync. I can see that the video and the sound is all out of kilter, but the only way to fix that is to crash out of this and start again. So, software, eh? Who'd have it? Thank you very much indeed for your time and attention. Hopefully I have delivered this at helter-skelter speed and you've watched this on 2 times speed after the fact. Don't hesitate to like and subscribe. Don't hesitate to share this with your colleagues if there's anything useful within here. What I'm going to do when I hang up, as they say, is go and put my time markers into this video so that you'll be able to click back in and jump straight to the bit about relative dates or whatever you fancy. But until next week, when, of course, we will be looking at reporting on rights deals information. Oh, it's been such a dream for so long. Now it's happening. Until then, I will bid you a very happy week and hope things go okay. See you later.